Have you ever felt like your legs were like concrete at the end of the race, or about halfway through your legs start to really hurt? Well, first of all, is your pacing might be playing up. So, have you ever gone out too fast during a race and your legs have suffered? So, I bet all of you have done that. So, today's video might help you. So, what is pacing? Pacing is simply a way to run per kilometre, and I bet Darren's watching this, or per mile. So, for example, if you're doing a long run, your long run might be 6 minute per Ks or 10-minute miles, and this helps you control yourself whilst you're running. So, what are the different pacing strategies can you and myself use? So, the first one is positive splitting. The second one is negative splitting, and the last one is race pace. So I'll be going over these later on, so don't worry, sit back and enjoy the video. So, how can you work your race pace into your training? So first of all, I've got a 5k race coming up, and these are my two favourite workouts from my training block. So how can you how do you know what your race pace is? So first of all, if you're not unsure or aiming for a certain time, I suggest you go over to a Safari or Chrome, wherever you use, type in pace calculator, go into one of the websites and put your goal time in and for your race distance, and it'll come up with the splits you need to hit or roughly need to hit in order to achieve that time. So my first workout I can suggest for a 5k distance, so I'll be aiming for about anything under 18 minutes. So the workout I'll be doing 9 times out of 10 every Wednesday is 5k, 5 by 1k at race pace, which is around 3:36 per kilometre, which is rough as you can imagine. But this gets you used to running at a high intensity, getting your body used to working that hard for such a short period, which helps with a bit of fatigue and everything, so it gets your body used to it as well. And this is one of my favourite workouts. You can change it and adjust it to however many you like. You can do 2 by 1k, two 800s and two 4s or something like that, or you can simply leave it at 3 by 1k, 2 by 4 by 2k or something like that. It's completely adjustable. And the second one is what we like to call a pyramid session, which is where you start at a low distance, build it up to somewhere in the middle, then build it back down, then reduce it down. So, and one of my favorite pyramid sessions is you start at 200 meters, then you build it to 4, 6, 8, and then a kilometer. Then you build it back down from the kilometer, so you go down 800, 600, 400, and 200. You do all this at race pace, and then between every rep, which is known as recovery. So whether you're doing the 5 by 1k pyramid session, whatever sessions you do, you have to have recovery. So that's something like a 1 minute jog or a walk, or do something that helps you lower that heart rate, and then you build it back up. So the importance of recovery during reps is to allow your body to cool itself down, make sure you go ready to go into the next rep. And it just helps you control that pace, because if it's a new or faster pace that you're used to, it gets your body used to that. So when you come back to it, maybe in a couple of weeks, it will make the pace will feel easier than it was before. So the first pacing strategy will be on. So, what is goal pace? Goal pace is simply maintaining a same and consistent speed throughout the race. So, for example, if you're aiming for a sub 25 5k for example, you want to be averaging average per kilometre of 4:59 per kilometre. Now, I understand for the ones who work in miles, and I guarantee Darren Morin is shouting through me at the screen because I work in kilometres. Well, loads of people work in kilometres per minute and loads of people work in miles, but Darren works in miles. So if you're someone who prefers working in miles, you can go online, search on for a pace calculator, and then it'll simply give you all the splits that you need to hit that goal time or pace. So, what are the benefits? The benefits are, first one is you get to conserve your energy. So this is important because the last thing you want to be doing is going out way too fast, burning up, and not being able to finish the race or get your goal time. So this helps you sort of maintain and hold that pace back. The second one, it helps with mental confidence or steadiness, as you'll maintain that same goal pace that you've been trying through training, and it will get you through that goal time. So, on to the negatives. So the first one is lack of flexibility, as sometimes you can't predict the course, weather, heat, or anything that might affect your performance. So I'd say to try and improve on that is to start training in different circumstances like hot weather, humidity, and raining, stuff like that. Just get your body used to it. The second one is missing opportunities, because I bet some of you out there have been aiming for that goal pace and then suddenly you feel good about halfway but still aiming for that goal pace, so you're sort of holding yourself back, and when you reach the finish you might be able to push yourself that extra bit. So that missed opportunity there might cost you an extra maybe 5-10 seconds, or maybe 3 minutes, 30 minutes or so on, depending on your race distance. So one person that's extremely notable and arguably one of the best long distance runners, specifically in the 5k and 10k, is Sir Mo Farah. So if you don't know who Mo Farah is, he's recently retired. He's a GB athlete. Currently holds the still holds the marathon record, which is set at I think 2 hours 5 minutes and 44 seconds for Great Britain. And he is notable for his fast finishing and consistent pacing throughout races. So yeah, couldn't argue with anyone else except for him. So that is goal pace for you. Next one, I'm going to go over positive splitting for you. So the second thing we'll go over today is positive splitting. So what is it? So positive splitting is simply where you run the first half of your race faster than your second. So for example, if you're doing a 10k and you're aiming there or about 60 minutes, or sub 60 or just over, and you simply run your first 5k in 25 minutes, and then the second half in 35 minutes. This can be adjusted slightly, but it's simply just where you run the first half faster than the second, and that should land you about a 60-minute 10k. Now, what are the benefits? So first of all, there's an aggressive strategy. So you go out hard and you try to maintain that same pace throughout the race. Straightforward, nothing complicated about it. It's just simple and aggressive. And second of all, you use any early on energy stores. So your energy stores are simply your glycogen, which is simply when you eat, your body breaks down carbs down to glycogen, and then it gets stored in your muscles, and that's what gives you energy in order to move around throughout the day. So he uses those energy stores nice and early, so you'll feel nice and confident, nice and fast. So we've all done it, we've all gone out too fast, let's be honest, and here are some negatives about it. So first of all, it's got a high risk of fatigue. So anyone who does sort of any sprinting, any high intensity workouts, and you stop for like maybe 2 minutes for a break, and you suddenly feel um a little bit tired, and your legs feel heavy and everything, that's the fatigue kicking in. So how do we avoid this? We avoid it by sort of slowing down and maybe do a little bit of negotiating with your opening 5k. But this is the race strategy I'd use the least, honestly. It's horrible. And this bit leads me on to the second bit now, which is it's a mental challenge or psychological challenge, because obviously you're going up fast and you're risking increased risk of early set on fatigue. And if it's quite a hilly course, or you've not trained appropriately or correctly or to your maximum, it will be a difficult challenge to hold on to that pace, as you've set off way too fast or faster than you're aiming for. So it will simply be a challenge to get over the line rather than maintaining the same pace. So the last thing is a notable runner. Some of you may know her. I'm not sure if you do, but this is another GB athlete, which she has an amazing inspirational, massive inspiration on all runners, is Paula Radcliffe. Now, you may have heard of her, and she's gained recent popularity as she's recently returned to the marathon. And in Tokyo, where she ran a sub 3 hour marathon, I think in 2 hours 56 and 31 seconds or something like that, which is ridiculous at her age. I believe she's around 47 or something like that. Please correct me below. But I might shove as a little thing but here. So she normally sets off fast and tries to hold on, as this is a race strategy she uses a handful of times, not all the time, as and the next one, which is negative splitting, is the one I'd highly advise for all you runners out there, but I'll explain that in a minute. So, what is negative splitting? Negative splitting is simply the complete opposite of positive splitting. It's simply Negative splitting is simply where you run your first half slower than your second half. Now, for example, if you're aiming for that sub 60 again or around that time, and you want to be aiming to run your first 5k in about 35 minutes or thereabouts, then run the second 5k in 25 minutes. Now, negative splitting, it has loads of benefits and is highly recommended. I'm going to recommend it for all of you out there, as I use it personally, and I've got all my PBs. Well, I think I've got majority of my PBs from running a negative split, which is really good. So the first benefit, it reduces early on fatigue. Fatigue is just horrible, as we all know. So by reducing the build-up or the chances of fatigue in our legs later on in the race, it allows us to hit those faster paces more consistently and with less strain on our bodies. So the second one is it's the commonly used pacing strategy in any PB attempts, national records, or even better, world records, which means it's used among elites as well as all of us beginners, intermediates, and so on. So it's a really worldwide and all-round used pacing strategy. So there are some negatives, believe it or not. So the first one, is it requires discipline. So you think, if I'm running the first half slower than the second, how is it harder? It's harder because you're looking to increase your pace from about halfway onwards, Now that's difficult because if you've been running fairly slow, it's nice and comfortable, but then suddenly halfway is where you have to pick it up to a faster pace. So it requires a sheer amount of discipline, but once you find a good rhythm of um, negative splitting, you find that it makes it easier because everyone has different pacing strategies on different times. It doesn't matter if you're aiming for sub 60, sub 30, 35 in 10k, or regardless of what times you're aiming for in different distances. Everyone's got their own sort of negative splitting they prefer or have seen that have seen that it reaches their goal and objective. And the second one is the risk of losing time on the course. So what I mean by this is you could be holding yourself holding yourself back too far. So if you hold yourself back too far, you could risk of losing time. So if you feel good from 6k onwards or 4k onwards or something like that, and you feel like you can push on and maintain that pace or increase it, just have a go, because we all learn from mistakes. So have a little mess around, nothing too hectic. I don't want to see anyone opening in like a 3 minute flat K. Just have a little mess around because everyone has different splittings that different splits they like to hit. So two notable runners, really notable, are Eliud Kipchoge, who is running today's London Marathon. But if you're watching this on another day, I'm probably going to release it tomorrow. So he was running the marathon yesterday, and he's commonly known for using negative splitting. So back in 2019, he ran a new world record of 2 hours, 1 minute and 9 seconds. Yeah, for a new world record in the marathon, which is ridiculous. But the most notable thing about this is he ran his second half in about 2 minutes and 5 seconds faster than his first half, which shows you that negative splitting does work. And 2 years back in 2023, Calvin Kipton, who recently died from a car crash, ran a new world record, beating Eliud Kipchoge's, and managed to get it all the way down to 2 hours and 35 seconds. But I'll double check that for you. So how did he do this? He simply ran the second half in a ridiculous time of 59 minutes and 47 seconds, which is a crazy second half of a marathon if you really think about it. So I hope you've enjoyed today's video, and hopefully you've learned something. So wish you all the best. If you've got any questions about anything and everything, please put them below. Share my channel around would be a big help, and drop a subscribe and make sure you hit the bell just to make sure you'll get notified for when my videos come out.